Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm putting together American Bridge 21st Century and the Unite the Country Super PAC to support Vice President Biden's presidential campaign, especially in some key battleground states. And we welcome now back to Bloomberg. Governor, thank you so much for being with us. Great to have you with us.
It's good to be with you.
Give us your sense of this race right now, particularly as it comes to that handful, 5, 6, 7 battleground races, states. What are the issues that are really make a difference?
Well, first of all, I think it is a competitive race, and I think it will be right through to the to Election Day. Notwithstanding the fact that many people are voting now, I think it's important for people in the battleground states and beyond to understand that Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, want to serve everyone and are trying to pay attention to everyone, not just the folks in the battleground states who get all the attention from the media because of the numbers of electoral votes. And I think by serve, it means growing an economy out so that it reaches the middle and the marginalized and not just the well-connected. I think it means dealing with the climate crisis, which we see exemplified in so many ways in our everyday lives, most notably in the fires out in California and on the West Coast today. It's about returning us to the rule of law and not the rule of impulse and insult. Which is largely what we have had, and about investing in the things that enable opportunity in education, in innovation, and in infrastructure, broadly defined and in every part and corner of the country.
As we look at the polls, and you and I both know polls are not infallible by any means, over time, President Trump has had something of an edge, maybe getting narrower, but an edge when it comes to the economy. On the other hand, former Vice President Biden clearly has an edge when it comes to dealing with COVID-19. How do you focus the debate so that there's one or two issues rather than 8 or 10?
Well, a couple of things I'd say about the debate. First of all, at this moment, COVID-19 and the economy are deeply connected. So we are not going to get a high-functioning and growing economy unless we have a comprehensive solution to COVID-19. And that is not going to come from a vaccine alone, although that will be part of it. It is broad-based testing. It's and rapid response to that testing. It is following the CDC's guidelines on best hygienic practices, washing hands, wearing a mask, social distancing. And it's going to be a kind of a uniformity that we are all working together to try to address this instead of pitting blue states and red states and Democratic governors and Republican governors against each other as we have seen. And underlying all of that, David, will be the importance of telling the American people the truth, the whole truth, which Biden will do and Trump has not.
But how does Vice President Biden get that message across? Because he could spend the whole debate trying to fact check the president. And I'm not sure that wins for him. I mean, obviously, a lot of people have questioned some of the things that President Trump has asserted, has checked it, found it's not true. But what do you do when you're on a debate stage with someone like that?
You know, to tell you the truth, if it were me and I had my druthers, I probably wouldn't even debate President Trump. I mean, he has no agenda, he has no policy, he has no interest in anything other than himself, and everything else is lies or exaggerations. And so I hope that Joe Biden doesn't try, tempted as he will be, to correct every misstatement or to try even to follow what is certain to be an illogical path of reasoning, and instead comes in with the 2 or 3, 4 or 4 points he wants to make sure he gets across to the American people. And I think that is about seeing everyone, about serving everyone, not just the people who vote for you, about trying to build an economy where people's economic mobility is enhanced and they can move up and forward, and we can address through that income inequality, about helping folks to, and there's some specific ideas, by the way, that he has on there, about reversing the climate crisis and doing so in a way that brings us to a clean energy future and creates millions of jobs along the way, something I've had experience with on a different scale in Massachusetts, and about dealing with the divisions of all kinds, including racial divisions and injustice that have been with us chronically in this country, but are within our capacity to solve. And I think Joe Biden is just the right leader to help us do so.
Does Vice President Biden go into this debate actually with a couple of advantages? One of them, maybe the President of the United States has given him by lowering the expectations for Biden so much, saying we're not sure he can even stay awake for the whole debate, things like that. But also, all the polls have been pretty stubborn in having Vice President Biden with a 7-8 point advantage. So he doesn't have to persuade people to change their minds. Does President Trump have to persuade some of those people to change their minds to come over to his side?
I think President Trump has shown us who he is, and as I said, he is about impulse. He's about showmanship. He is about exaggeration or outright lying. We're seeing a lot of initiatives come out in the last week or so because he's on the eve of election. But what's he been doing for the last 4 years? He wakes up every day trying to divide us. I think what Joe Biden has to do is not spend all of his time talking about what's wrong with President Trump and the Trump administration, but to focus instead on what's right with the vision of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the administration he wants to run. And as I say, I think that has everything to do with social and economic justice and fairness and opportunity for everybody, everywhere. We have an unusual and I think historic opportunity to not just save our democracy, but really reassert the character of our country as one that is truly dedicated to equality, opportunity, and fair play for everyone, and to work to close the gap between our reality and our ideals, and we all have a stake in that.